In my previous video, I talked about the in-text citations in MLA format, but in this MLA format video, I'm going to talk about the Works Cited page. The Works Cited page is typically your last page of your paper. It's going to be paginated just as the rest of the pages are, and it'll say Works Cited at the top of the page. After that, there will be a list of the sources. As I said in that video, there is a purpose for this, and it's that if someone reads a quote from your paper that they really like, right? So if they read this quote by Susan Ramsey and they like the quote about beads, maybe they want to go find that specific poem. They come and find Susan Ramsey's name, and then they can find where it came from so that they can go look up that source and have it for themselves, for their own research maybe, or just for their own interest. For that reason, this Works Cited page is kept in alphabetical order. It's in alphabetical order so that it's easy to find, and it's by the author's last name. And aside from being alphabetized, another quality of the Works Cited page is that it uses the hanging indent. Unlike your regular indent where the first line of a paragraph starts indented and the rest of it's to the left, the first line of a citation is not indented and the rest of it is. So you see in this author indentation, in this author citation, that author is not indented and the rest of the citation is. If this citation by Steve Kishulantz was a little bit longer, you'd notice that when it went over onto the next line, and I'm just typing, that this is incorrect. And the reason why is that we're looking for that last name. So for author we can find A, Kishulantz we can find K, and then press comes in here and interrupts it. So I need to create that hanging indent. In Microsoft Word I can drag this bottom indent marker over, and now it's easier to find Kishulantz here. So I cut and paste this citation. It's not a real citation. It is from the Purdue Online Writing Lab, and it explains all of the things you need to include, as many of them as you have, in the Works Cited about a specific source, right? So the first thing is always the author and its last name, first name. So for Susan Ramsey, it's Ramsey, Susan. The next thing is the title, whatever the title is, right? So Beads is the title of the poem by Susan Ramsey. The title of the container, in this instance, it is from a collection of poems called A Mind Like This. And then we look and we see which of these we need to fulfill for the specific source we have. Now, if you want kind of an easier way to do it, there's a really great resource called the Purdue Online Writing Lab, which is owl.purdue.edu. It's often called the Purdue Owl. And in the Purdue Owl, they have citation guides for the major citation formats. So I'm in MLA style right now, and if you go to the MLA formatting and style guide, there it gives you the guide on how to do in-text citations and works cited citations. There's lots of different sources. They have lots of different information. They come from a variety of places. You might, in a single paper, be citing scholarly sources, websites, books, poetry, etc., and you need to know how to cite each one of those. So one way is to look at this and just try to fill in what you need, but another way, if you want to do it the best, is to find it in this menu to see what you're citing and find how to cite this. So if you're citing a book, you can click Works Cited page, Books, right here. If you're citing a periodical, like a magazine, a physical magazine, something like that, you can click on periodicals. If you're citing an electronic source, you can click on electronic sources, and then once you do, notice it gives the best practices for it, and then it gives the basic style for citations of electronic sources. Then it'll give you how to do specific kinds of websites and sources. Here, citing an entire website, a course or department website, a page in a website, an ebook, and anything you find electronically should be found here. How to cite an email, a listserv, a tweet, right? So if I'm citing a tweet, there's a way to do it. And to cite a tweet, I start with the @ and then I cite the actual tweet. I put that as from Twitter, etc. Finally, there's also an option to look for other common sources that might not fit under books, periodical, or electronic sources. And if you click that, then you'll see the format. So what this does is it gives you a template that you can follow to cite your own materials, which you'll put in the Works Cited page in alphabetical order.